and another one bites the dust. Oh yeah. So this episode of Dragon Ball Super, another one from Universe 7 was eliminated. Now, it's interesting because I remember there was a theory that in the opening, it was spoiling or teasing who was going to be eliminated in what order. And I think that this episode, if I'm not mistaken, completely destroyed that theory, because I believe the next person to be eliminated should have been Piccolo, because it was according to the Dragon Ball stars that they had. Krillin had the 1 star, Piccolo had the 2 star, so on and so forth. But this episode revealed that it's Tien, the next one to go. So that whole theory of, hey, they spoiled the order of elimination for Universe 7, not happening, which is good, because I don't want to know, 10 episodes later what's going to happen or who's going to be eliminated in what order. So good shit there, the way they did it. The episode as a whole, honestly, it was kind of like a mixed bag for me. It was like, on one hand, okay, some of it was pretty cool or whatever. I liked a lot of the strategy, but my God, let's talk for a second, because a lot of the episode focused mainly, hey, I almost bumped something over. Oh shit. A lot of the episode mainly focused on Piccolo and Gohan, and then of course you had Tien towards the end, and you had a little bit of Goku and Vegeta, but Piccolo and Gohan, my gosh. Yo, horrible joke right here, but can someone give Piccolo a hand? How many times them limbs was going off, bro? I was like, damn. Now the thing is with Piccolo is that it's a cheap thing in a sense of like, hey, it could look really graphic, but he can regenerate, so it's like, hey, it looks graphic, but it's not like he truly lost a limb or whatever. But it was still nonetheless showcasing like, the sniper dude is trouble, and a little reveal or whatever towards the end of like, oh, it's more than one sniper and one of them can't really do it. It was like, alright, it's okay. I think for a contained episode, it was fine. It was nowhere near, and maybe that's why I'm not like through the moon for this episode. But I mean, on top of it, it wasn't a through the moon type of episode anyway. But in comparison to like last week, and I would even argue the week before, this episode is nowhere near that level. Like Master Roshi type of shit from last week, that was hype. That was amazing. That was, it hit the feels. It hit you in the kokoro, your heart. This one, it was like, okay, it was nice to see Piccolo and Gohan together. It was nice to see, as a whole, the Z Warriors all working together to do this. Although, it is kind of weird, and I do want to address something, because we have a giant stadium with tons of warriors, right? There's a lot of people there, not tons, but, there's a lot of warriors in there, and there's enough time and enough room, I guess, on here for people to be sitting and standing, idling around. Like, you see, there's a certain shot where I'm just like, huh? You see, what is it, Goku, Vegeta, and Tien, and they're kind of just on the sideline, just chilling and watching and observing, and I'm like, shouldn't they be like in massive combat? Shouldn't they be having their own struggles? And that's something maybe about the Tournament of Power that I don't really particularly care for, in a sense, is scenes like that, because we have a lot of things going on. There's so many warriors, you got to watch your back at all times. So the fact that they were kind of like just chilling, it was like, I mean, I guess if we're looking at it, it's more so like for our eyes, hey, what's going on? There's minutes going by, but in reality, this is all happening in such a short amount of time, so it's not like they're actually chilling, you know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the episode, I think they said we have 32 minutes left, so it was, what, a couple minutes this episode really took in universe time, so it wasn't really that long of them chilling, I guess. So you could argue there that, hey, it looks it, but it ain't really. And I mean, I guess to see Gohan and Piccolo really struggling again, it was interesting, interesting to see Vegeta talking real condescending. He was almost talking about Gohan as if he was talking about the Gohan that we seen, after the time skip, before the Boo shit, where he was just like, this guy's weak. Remember when he was fighting Deborah or whatever? He just kept on criticizing and saying, oh, he can't get the job done, or whatever the hell he was saying. I'm like, then you get blasted, bro. So it's, what are you doing? So Vegeta's character, I was like, I mean, it's classic Vegeta, right? But then again, at the same time, it's like, then you look kind of dumb, because you're criticizing Gohan for not getting the job done, and, Piccolo there, they struggling and shit like that. But then it's like, whoa, you can't do it either, bro. Even though him and Goku eventually, teamed up and did what they did or whatever, but still, it was kind of like, Vegeta, you talking out your ass right now. Then, Tien. It was nice to get a moment for Tien. I like that, and I like that at the very least he went out with accomplishing something similar to Krillin. He accomplished something, although he in the end kind of got dusted off by, it was Frost, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, right? So, you know, at least Tien went out accomplishing something. It was cool to see him use the Tri-Beam. It was cool to see Tien get a little bit of a moment, but this episode, again, I don't know if it was just because it was not really structured amazingly or something like that, that it just didn't really send off Tien in a great way. It was like, it was okay. It was cool seeing him, you know, cloning himself, so to speak, doing the 4 clones, which if I'm not mistaken, we haven't seen Tien do that since Dragon Ball. I could be wrong. He could have done it somewhere in Z. I just can't really remember, but it was nice again, and it really showcases when we constantly are seeing things like that. The Mafuba returning, like, what, twice now in Dragon Ball Super it came, you know, whatever. Like, it seems as though the people behind Super are really massive fans, or they're looking into the fandom and seeing that what's really working, what's really cool is bringing back a lot of shit from what made the series in Japan pop to begin with, bringing Dragon Ball references back. So if that was the last time it was in Dragon Ball when Tien did that, I ain't mad at it. It was kind of cool. Again, his send-off was like, hey, you know, he got him in the end, even though it was like he fell with him and he took him down. So it's like, at the very least, you know, I always say this in my real life, right? And hey, this says a little bit about me, is that if I'm going to get jumped, or if I'm going to get mollywopped, if I'm going to get tricked, let's just say there's like 10 people about to jump my ass, right? Now, it's a little different in this circumstance because Tien was with the clones and shit, but let's just say 10 people are about to jump my ass, right? They there, and I know I'm going down. At the very least, I'm taking 1 or 2 of you motherfuckers with me. And that's what I liked about what Tien did, is like, okay, you got me, bro. You got me. You caught me slipping. But I'm still gonna take you down with me. So I was like, okay. And then, I mean, the villains in this episode, or antagonists, or whatever, the 2 snipers and Dr. Rhoda, or whatever the hell, they wasn't all that at all. It was just mainly a little quirk and a little trick, which again is something that this tournament more so introduced to the Dragon Ball franchise, is people with quirks, because I believe in Dragon Ball maybe they might have done some stuff like that, but Z was all about power and strength or whatever. So bringing this tournament in, we get to deal with people that have interesting little quirks or little ways and tricks and shit like that. So to see them deal with that, again, is like, it's different from Z, which is kind of cool, whatever. So you have to see how they're gonna maneuver around it, how they're gonna get around it, which is like, okay. I mean, aside from that, we started off the episode from where the last one left off. Master Roshi's just gonna chill back. So again, it's a lot of like, how are you or anybody getting rest unless you're really hiding? Like when Kale and Caulifla, when they're hiding and shit, you know, they're resting, they're hiding, they're not actually out in the open or whatever. So it makes sense for them to be able to do that, even though still this is not the most giant arena in the world or whatever. So it kind of makes me wonder, like, they're not structuring it properly to the point where it's believable that this is a tournament where everybody's throwing hands at 1,000,000 miles an hour and there's no rest. When you see Goku, Vegeta, and Tien just chilling there looking like they're about to crack a cold one open because they're the boys. I'm like, huh? Hello, episode. It was a decent episode. It could have been a greater episode because, again, I look back now and I'm going to have a standard for the Tournament of Power from here on out with that Master Roshi episode. Because that Master Roshi episode, now obviously every episode can't completely live up to that, but still, I look at that Master Roshi episode and I'm like, that's an example of some of the amazingness that they could do with Dragon Ball Super. You know what I'm saying? They could do some great things. So I'm wanting more of that with Tien's send-off. It was like, it was okay. It could have been cooler. It could have been something along the lines of like, and again, the stakes really, they're high, but they're not treating it as if they're high, because like, they could have had a moment like when Tien, and I believe this was filler for Z, if I'm not mistaken, it wasn't actually in the manga, but remember at the end of the Cell fight, or towards the end of the Cell fight, when Piccolo, Tien, Krillin, Yamcha all jumped in on Cell, and it was really emotional, and they had these words and everything like that. That could have been something that they could have done for here, for Tien. So it was like, it was okay. It could have been great. So, good episode nonetheless. Okay to good. I mean, I guess we got some good progression in the sense that another one of, or, well, maybe you'd argue it's bad because you don't want Team 7 or Universe 7 down or whatever, but like, we got somebody else eliminated, so that means we're moving forward, which is good because time isn't really moving that quick for this tournament. You know what I'm saying? Out of all these episodes we've had, only 2 people from our universe so far have been eliminated. I'm imagining with the battle damage that he took in this episode, Piccolo will probably be next. It could be one of the androids, but obviously Goku, Vegeta, I want to argue Gohan as well. I believe those are safe, and maybe even 17, I want to say, is safe. So maybe Piccolo, because of the battle damage he took recently, or 18, or somebody like that could potentially be next. But shit, Tien's down. Really curious what you guys think about this, though. How did you feel about, first of all, the episode as a whole, the way it was structured, Tien having to help out, and Goku and Vegeta having to help out against those Krusties? What do you think about those Krusties? You think they were Krusty, you know, the snipers and Knock the Rota, hey? Or you kind of like them or something like that? Also, what do you think about Piccolo taking this abuse? It was like, yo, what are we doing? We prejudice against Namekians now? What's up with that? And your overall thoughts of the episode again as a whole? I mean, I liked it. I thought it was okay, but it didn't have that emotional or even that just intensity that I felt from the past couple episodes, especially if Tien was getting eliminated. It was like, it was a smart little cool maneuver at the end. Could have been great, but yeah. Alright, that's all I have for this one though. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and stalk my Facebook to get more. When the video ends, I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. Oh, by the way, that preview though. Did y'all see that preview? I might have to do a video about that preview because it's looking sick. Oh yeah. Oh, one last thing. I'm sorry. No episode next week, 2-week break, or 1 week break, so 2 weeks from now we get the next episode. That really sucks, because I love my weekly dose of Dragon Ball Super, I'm just saying. But yeah, have an awesome one, people.